Well, it's Friday and it's a grey, miserable day here as we head towards summer in Sydney. We are Coffee with Job and we are at chapter 21. And I'm calling this one, I guess this one is the Hitler special, because again, we're looking at evil. And for me, I spent a long time looking at and examining Hitler, and do you know, the whole issue of evil is something that actually drove me to God and not away from God. And I remember going to Auschwitz and just thankful for Christ and wondering how people can cope in this world without him. So let me just read from verse 17 to verse 21. Job says, "Yet how often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? How often does calamity come upon them? The fate God allots in his anger. How often are they like straw before the wind, like chaff swept away by a gale? It is said, God stores up the punishment of the wicked for their children. Let him repay the wicked, so that they themselves will experience it. Let their own eyes see their destruction. Let them drink the cup of the wrath of the Almighty. For what do they care about the families they leave behind when their allotted months come to end?" Now Job is saying that in actual fact, it seems as though the wicked often do not get their comeuppance in this life, although sometimes they do. So, where does that take us? Where does that leave us? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to play you this clip from one of my favourite films, Downfall, starring the late Bruno Ganz as Hitler. Just an absolutely stunning film, but just watch this.
Der Führer hat jeglichen Sinn für die Realitäten verloren. Er verschiebt Divisionen auf der Landkarte, die gar nicht mehr existieren. Das ist purer Wahnsinn!
Es ist dem Feind gelungen, die Front in breiter Formation zu durchbrechen.
Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feigling!
Berlin wird Brandstadt.
Es sind noch über 3 Millionen Zivilisten in der Stadt.
Mit ihrem eigenen Blut werden sie bezahlen!
Kann denn hier keiner Musik machen?
A madman has come undone. These are his final hours. And this is the story that has never been told. Bruno Ganz. Downfall.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the film, but it's so worth seeing. There's so much stuff in it, and I just want to comment on some of this stuff in terms of the lamp of the wicked being snuffed out. The film, well, the American voiceover describes Hitler as a madman. I don't think he was mad, at least until his latter days. He was a human being who evil went much further with than maybe most human beings. I think the phrases that stuck out to me in the film are, one, all sense of reality is gone, and I think that's true for us in many ways, that people lose their sense of reality. And you'll notice also in the clip that we saw there, Eva Braun and others, as the Chancellery is being bombed, that they want to party and dance. And I feel that that's an equivalent thing. so much in our culture. We don't want to face up to things. Also, the sense of vengeance. They'll pay with their own blood. They'll pay for it. And then, I think for me, there was a phrase in the film where Hitler talks about going to peace. Now, if you are an atheist, if you say there's no afterlife, that's what you believe happened to Hitler, that he went to peace, that he went to rest. I don't believe that. I think that is completely wrong. In fact, if you are an atheist, you have a real problem. How often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? And let them drink the cup of the wrath of the Almighty. There isn't such a thing for you. In fact, there isn't such a thing as justice. So when I wrote this book, the Dawkins Letters, I cited Dawkins in The Blind Watchmaker. This is what he says. In a universe of blind physical forces and genetic replication, some people are going to get hurt, other people are going to get lucky, and you won't find any rhyme or reason in it, nor any justice. The universe we observe has precisely the properties we would expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, no evil, and no good. Nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. So you can't believe in good and evil, can you? If you're a materialist, you know, this plant isn't good or evil. You know, this coffee isn't good or evil. Matter isn't good or evil, but human beings are. And how does that come? That comes from basically being reflected through God. Now, coming back to Downfall, I was fascinated by this. Traudl Junger, Hitler's secretary, who's portrayed in that film, she had an autobiography towards the end of her days, and this is what she said. Sometimes, about Hitler, sometimes we also had interesting discussions about the church and the development of the human race. Perhaps it's going too far to call them discussions, because he would begin explaining his ideas when some question or remark from one of us had set them off, and we just listened. He was not a member of any church and thought the Christian religions were outdated, hypocritical institutions that lured people into them. Doesn't that sound familiar? The laws of nature were his religion. He could reconcile his dogma of violence better with nature than with the Christian doctrine of loving your neighbour and your enemy. Science isn't yet clear about the origins of humanity, he once said. We are probably the highest stage of development of some mammal which developed from reptiles and moved on to human beings, perhaps by way of the apes. Good evolutionists, our Hitler. We are a part of creation and children of nature, and the same laws apply to us as to all living creatures. Now listen to this. And in nature, the law of the struggle for survival has reigned from the first. Everything incapable of life, everything weak is eliminated. Only mankind, and above all the church, have made it their aim to keep alive the weak, those unfit to live, and people of an inferior kind. Let me repeat that last bit. Only mankind, and above all the church, have made it their aim to keep alive the weak, those unfit to live, and people of an inferior kind. Exactly. Exactly. The world is very, very different from the way that Hitler perceived it, from the way that the religious legalists perceive it, like Zophar. The world is very different from a world in which the fates just determine things. There is a world in which there is a God who brings justice. And Hitler will experience that, did experience that, and will experience it. And we also will experience it. And I hope that we seek our peace and our rest in Christ. Okay, that's us for this week. Romans Road, we'll do that on Sunday. And then we are back to Job on Monday. God bless you, and thanks for all of you who've been in touch and to ask questions or to say how much you've appreciated this. And please do feel free to pass this on to other people. And by the way, please don't forget the two podcasts we do, the Quantum podcast about news and views, and the Ask podcast, which are interviews with people, the latest one just going up with Gerald Bray. So a bit longer than usual today, but God bless you, and see you on Monday. Bye.